The biggest what ifs in this sport this year. We've been doing this for like a month and a half, and it's gotten great results because you guys keep giving me ideas. Like one of you asked about conference championship chaos, and you talked about college football playoff chaos, and I think it's coming. I think it's absolutely on the horizon. So I don't know what you think about when I say that, but here's what I think about. So I want you to follow me here. So we got the whole auto bid structure, where the four highest ranked conference champs get the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds and first round buys in the playoff. Okay, we all know that. The next thing you start to do this time of year is you start to pencil in who you think the conference champs are going to be. We just did that Sunday night. The video's on our YouTube channel right now. And that's all well and good. Everyone will do that. No one ever predicts the chaos. That's the whole nature of chaos. It's unpredictable. So let me paint you a couple of scenarios that I think we may be headed towards. The first one is the kind of situation where you have multiple upsets in conference championship games. So let's say FSU's 12-0, and they're facing a 9-3 Virginia Tech in the ACC championship game, and Virginia Tech just pulls the upset. Virginia Tech's in. They're automatically in. Florida State's still in as well. And it's almost like a bracket buster. It's almost like a team bumped off the bubble, like we talk about in March Madness all the time, because an unexpected 9-3, an otherwise unworthy team at 9-3 also becomes 10-3 conference champ Virginia Tech. Well, they're in, and FSU's still in because they're 12-1. They just get bumped down the ladder a little bit. But what if that happens and you have a situation like Utah's 11-1 facing a 9-3 Iowa State? Iowa State pulls the upset. Boom, you've got another bracket buster. You got another auto bid there. You got Virginia Tech, Iowa State, and what are we doing with 11-1 Utah? They're from a weaker conference. Maybe they came in as the 8th seed going into conference championship weekend. Maybe they were ranked 8th. Are they going to get punished for making their conference title game to the point where they're out of the playoff? Where the Big 10, or the Big 12 rather, could sit around and say, wait. So you're telling me if we just didn't have a conference title game, Utah would have gotten in? Yes. Why did we even play this? So that's a couple of things that can happen. Also, think about this. Think about how mad this would make some of you, me as well. If you had, let's say, the 9-3 Virginia Tech win their conference and the 9-3 Iowa State win their conference, well, those are two auto bids. Are they among the four highest ranked conference champs, though? Because if Liberty goes 13-0, conference title included there, maybe Liberty's one of the four highest ranked conference champs. Maybe Memphis is one of the highest ranked conference champs. Maybe they take one of those first round buys. Because, to this point, any playoff projection I've seen, mine included, there's a G5 team in because there has to be, but they've always been like the 12 seed. They haven't been one of the top 4 seeds. They've been in only because you have to put them in. What if they're more than just in? What if a G5 gets a first round bye, and what if you had like a LSU or Georgia or Oregon go on the road to Liberty for a first round playoff game? Hey, some people say that's great. Some people say that's great. That's as far as I want to go with that. The other thing, I was talking to Brett McMurphy earlier today. He bounced a scenario off of me I had not thought of, candidly. He said, hey, there's also a world where you have a Utah, and maybe Utah's already a 2-loss team. Or maybe they're a 2-loss team, but they're guaranteed to be in the Big 12 championship game. Maybe it's just been a chaotic year there. There aren't very many good teams. Utah's 9-2 going into their last game, which is at UCF, by the way. So what if Utah is 9-2? They're going into their last game of the season. They already know they're going to the conference title game. If that was the case, Utah would know the outcome of the UCF game is meaningless because we're already not going to get in as an at-large. The only shot we have at the playoff is to win the conference. So we got a conference title game on deck. We're going to go rest starters. If you don't think that would be the case, you're crazy. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long and grizzled your coaching career has been. If you go into a final weekend knowing the outcome of this game really is meaningless because our only shot at the playoff is winning our conference, you're going to rest up and get ready for the conference title game. If we see any of that stuff happen, to me that would be pretty chaotic, and it's a little off the radar. It's not something someone would expect. Here's another what if for you. This has nothing to do with the playoff. I'm shifting a little bit. Everyone assumes things about this sport. One thing you've come to set your watch by is Iowa's offense is going to be bad. So there's good reason to think that. Iowa's offense has been bad for a long time. And yet still, the program has had 8+ wins in 8 of 9 seasons. So they've still been good. Defense has been rock solid. Last year, you're looking at the numbers here. Total yards per game, 133rd. Points per game, 132nd. The best that Colin and Jesse could do is rush yards per game, where they were only 109th in the country last year. But defense, top 10 almost across the board. So they got rid of their offensive coordinator. Tim Lester is now the OC there. They're gonna up tempo it a little bit. Going to go a little more air raid. What happens? This is a really big what if. What happens if Iowa's pretty good offensively? I'm not going to say great. That's beyond the scope even for this show. But what if they're just pretty good? What do we have to have there? You got to have Cade McNamara be healthy and be consistent, and he's been that before. You got to have him be healthy and be consistent. The new offense has to correlate with new skill guys emerging like Caleb Brown. But just picture a world, if you will, where Iowa is still what they were defensively, but they're pretty good offensively. I'll tell you what they're probably still not good enough to do. They're probably not good enough to win the Big Ten. Probably not. But they're absolutely good enough to go, 10-2. And you know what they're good enough to do at 10-2? That's lock in one of those at-large spots. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, 10-2 in the Big Ten. At-large playoff berth. If Iowa locks up one of those 5, 6, 7, or 8 seeds, you may mess around and have a Southern team have to go up to Iowa in the middle of December. And that's not one I think is on anyone's radar. Now, I got another one for you. Let's go to Missouri for just a second. Here's another what if. What if Brady Cook to Luther Burden ends up being the best quarterback to wide receiver duo in college football this year? We saw the beginnings of it last year. So Cook last year, it got 27 starts under his belt. Last year, 21 touchdowns, 6 turnovers. I think he had another 8 touchdowns on the ground. He's very, very, very versatile, dual threat, very good, but he waned at the end of the year. Luther Burden, 86 catches over 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, but he waned at the end of the year. So what if they don't? What if they start hot? What if they finish hot? You've obviously got Heisman consideration there, but also if they're not front-loaded, if they have consistency in performance over the entire season, they face 4 top 25 teams. Only one of them's in the top 10. Missouri faces Alabama the 26th of October. That's the only preseason top 10 odds team. We don't have an AP poll out yet, but we're talking FanDuel odds to win the national title. They play 4 teams in the top 25. There's only one in the top 10. Now, there are a lot of other good teams there. Going to College Station, not easy. Going to South Carolina and Mississippi State back-to-back, not easy. They got Oklahoma at home. None of it's easy, but if you all of a sudden tell me, yeah, that wide receiver quarterback duo is going to be fire, well, all of a sudden, I mean, that's a team that's going to play a ton of one-possession games this year anyway. They got a really good shot to make the playoff themselves. Those are just some what-ifs floating around my mind.